Okay, let's try this again. I wish I could show you guys I should make like a blooper reel of the behind the scenes of me trying to get ready to do these damn videos. Oh my goodness. And just for the record, these headphones aren't plugged into anything. I don't really know why when I watch podcasts and stuff why they wear them. I guess it blocks out other sound and when they're talking to somebody doing an interview. Anyway, I just want to look cool like everybody else, right? Fake it till you make it. You got to look good at what you're doing. Perception, right? Perception. I believe I have that spelled correctly. Perception versus reality. There came a point. Wow, this is really a deep one. I'm not going to go into all that, but a lot of times things just don't. They're just not what they appear to be. And this goes into projecting, right? I posted a quote today that I got from someone else, but I also commented on it. It's not always that way. It was something to the effect that don't take what people say about you seriously because it's more a reflection of them. And sometimes that's the case. Nothing's definite, nothing's 100%, right? Nothing's absolute. So you kind of have to figure out you have to do a self-inventory, right? You have to, and until I come up with a better term, you have to observe the observer. You are observing things. You're the observer in life, right? So you have to be able to observe yourself. So when somebody tells you something, and you suck, you're an asshole. You have to look at it as, am I? Am I in that situation? Am I that with you? Or are you projecting? Are you really the asshole? It can go several different ways. And that's where becoming aware of yourself, it's a constant thing. It's just, we're so lucky that we breathe automatically, that we, our eyes, our eyelids flicker, and so much happens automatically that we don't have to think about it. But there are things that we should think about. We don't have to. You don't have to. Keep that in mind when I tell you this. But I have to remind myself. The people that I'm attracting to this information, they want to be a little bit more enlightened. They want to be more aware. They want to be a little bit more in control of what's going on. If that's the case, then you have to be more aware. And of course, most everything I'm speaking of is coming from experience or an observation. When I observe someone, whether they're speaking in person, on a video, or whether I see them on Facebook, whether it's through text, through email, through blogs, you have to get a pattern to know someone. You have to have the data and the information. You can't judge off of one thing. So I can see, because I do this for myself, how I perceive things and what I'm saying to myself in my head, how I feel about stuff. That's how I've changed how I feel about money. The story I used to tell myself about money, about my health. So when I see people write stuff and they say, well, you this, you did this, this is how you think, this is what you did. And I'm like, And I start to realize, well, that's what you got because that's what you were looking for. And then sometimes a lot of people don't know themselves. They don't know why they do stuff. So you can ask them and they'll say one thing and they do another. So it's kind of tricky. It's kind of hard without giving you details. I can give you examples, and I just had one and I just lost it. Probably because I'm having a drink. And I'm a lightweight, so it doesn't take much. What am I drinking, you may ask? Diet ginger ale and tequila. 100% agave tequila. It's the only kind of drink. It's got to be 100% agave. Because that's how I justify doing it, saying that it's good for me. It helps with my digestion, right? So, perception. How often do you think someone means something and you find out that they mean something totally different? Or one of the things for me was the military. Now, of course, my dad was military police, and he was military for 27 years. So he was military since I was born all the way up until after I served, and then he retired right before I got out. So I kind of knew behind the scenes because I'd seen, but you go into boot camp with these drill instructors and you look at it and you're like, oh, wow, you know, oh. But I got to see them on a few occasions, kind of like behind the barracks or whatever. And you realize they're just people. They're just humans. And then after a while, you realize, you know, you put people on pedestals. You put, you know, teachers, parents, politicians, movie stars, because you see them in a different light, so you look at them a little bit differently. But then you get to realize that, wow, they're no different than me. They're just humans. They're just, you know, have this position or whatever. And then it made me realize, well, I could be that. I could do that. And they're just human. So really what this comes down to is the story that you tell. You know, a lot of times when things happen, when somebody does something, especially, and I'm speaking more, usually what I speak about with you guys in Run Choice is about relationships. It's about relationships with yourself and others. A lot of relationships get ruined because of misunderstanding or because of perceptions that we think because of what someone else has done or said, we look at, and this is where the projection comes from. We think about, well, if that was me, this is why I would have done that. So then you're like, well, they did that because, well, that's your reality. Now, it may be the reality, but you don't know until you actually ask the person, and if the person's going to be honest with you. See, I had a situation where I'm usually 100% honest. I'm very nice, and I don't like to hurt people's feelings. So I try to avoid that because sometimes being honest leads you there. But I believe that honesty is the best policy. It's not the easiest for either side. That's why I enjoy people's honesty. It's not easy to take. It's like a challenge for me. It's like, give me some brutal honesty. It's, oh man, oh that hurt. But hey, and then you realize, you're being honest with me because that's your perception. And then I have to decide, well, is that really what it is? Do I need to make a change or not? So just be careful, because this is more of us looking at other things and making a decision. We're making those decisions based off of our experiences, our inputs, how we would react. Not everybody's going to do it the same way. So don't put that on someone else. I always give someone the benefit of the doubt. And if I have a personal fault that I can say, I give people too much a benefit of the doubt because I'm an optimist. But I would rather give someone too much leeway and take the brunt of it. So that's why I couldn't be a cop. I would be one of those that you would have to shoot at me before I would shoot. And maybe that's the way it should be. But, I would rather get shot first before I shot someone, just to be sure. Now, I say that because I'm not in it. If I was out chasing people every day and running into people with guns, maybe I would think a little bit differently. I don't know. But that's usually where I'm at. I'm usually at the point where I'll take it. I'll let you get your words out, say what you want to say, and then I'll decide, should I say anything or not. And usually I don't say anything, because those that speak and don't ask for your opinion or ask for your feelings or how you feel or how you think, because most people cannot, they don't have the ability to put themselves in other people's shoes. And that's why I'm saying that if you want more clarity in life, that's what you have to be able to do. You have to be able to listen more than you talk. And that's just, for me, that's the reality. Become more of an observer, because if you're just observing, you don't take things personally. You have to realize that a lot of things that are said and done are not personal. That people don't, that they're not attacking you. So doing that, first of all, will give you a better peace of mind. Most people have a good heart and good intentions. But, and there's always a but. There's always another side, the yin to the yang. And this is where I'm still learning and growing, is when do I shut it off? When do I say, okay, that's enough. You're a grown-ass person. If you haven't learned that yet, then I need to separate myself. And that's what I work on. I'm going to be honest with you. I will be honest with you, and I'm trying to be more and more brutally honest, which I thought about this earlier when I was talking. How long have we got? 13 minutes, man. I'm trying to make these shorter. There's a show called Lie to Me. I believe it's still on Netflix. I believe you can still find it. I don't think they make it anymore. I love that show because it was about a guy that was a human lie detector. And, of course it's a TV show, so they can make anything seem like whatever. But they would go through the steps and they talk about body language and how people said and facial expressions and micro expressions. But they would always go and get a baseline, because not everybody's the same. And there's one show that I always reference to that I give an example of. Is usually if someone's lying about something, they don't show emotions, and their eyes, their forehead won't furrow. And I guess it was a lady that her kid had died or something, and her when they were talking about it, her forehead wasn't wrinkled up. This is like she's not showing any emotion. Or that we're talking about something else. Because they go in and they do it kind of secretly. But what they found out was she was getting Botox. So she couldn't show, that it was taking the wrinkles out. So anyway, you can't say just because someone's folding their arms usually means they're closed off, they're not paying attention. That's not always the case. You got to see, does this person always fold their arms? So don't apply one thing to everything. And again, it takes practice and time because you have to know when to cut things off, when to know someone's not being honest with you because they're not being honest with themselves. And I always err on the side of being absolutely sure because I don't like to have regrets. I don't like to go back and say, man, I should have given them another chance. I should have tried. So I'll try until I'm absolutely sure. So perception versus reality. Everybody is entitled to their opinion. I've said it before about all this stuff that's going on with the pandemic and the politics and stuff, and you don't know why someone has chosen one side over the other. You don't know what information they have. You don't know where they're getting their information. They might not have the same information that you do. And if it is that important to you, if it is someone close to you, and you really want to know where they stand, try and find a neutral, mutual place to have a conversation without any agenda, and just ask them, how they feel about a certain thing, just to get their idea. And then you might realize, oh, they're saying that because, something specific happened to them, so that's why this part of a situation is more sensitive to them. And if it's someone that cares about you, they'll be interested in your views. You can agree to disagree on things, which is perfectly fine. But it just helps to not take things personally. And I'm sharing this partly because when you let other people rent space in your head, when you're thinking about something someone said and you haven't had an opportunity to resolve it, like say maybe they said their peace of mind and they really don't want to hear yours, and you don't have a way to get it out, and it's just bouncing around. They said this, they said that, they said this, and it's like, how do you get rid of it? Because for me, I can tell it has an effect. When I start screwing up, I have to relax, breathe, clear my mind, and things start smoothing out. And I can almost tell every time something goes wrong, I'm having a thought that I'm taking negative from someone else. So even though the other person's not bad and they have good intentions, if the thoughts you get from them are being toxic, it's toxic. So, it's just, it is what it is. So, perception versus reality. I'm in this drink strong. I'm really feeling it tonight. I love you guys. I really do. I love everybody. Good night.